It was a freezing cold night in the December of 1997. I went back home to China for my postgraduate study in Chinese medicine. My professor, a 96-year-old Dr. Gan, would always go to the inpatient department to visit patients after his public clinic at the outpatient sector. One night, we did not finish our visiting until 11:30. I ran and caught the last bus from downtown terminal to Xiamen University, where my parents lived. When I got off the bus, a skinny little boy came up to me and begged, "Big sister, please spare me 20 cents. He was freezing. He looked dark and purple. His tiny little frame was shaking in a cold wind. He could hardly speak properly because his teeth were hitting each other from the uncontrollable shivering. In the dim light, although he was dark and purple, his big brown eyes were shining with a shimmering light of inner strength and wisdom. When I looked at him, I felt there was something special about this boy. Without much thinking, I took off my scarf, my beanie, and wrapped them around him. I reached to my pocket, found a $100 note, and gave it to him. It was when he reached up to take the money, I shockingly noticed he had no hands. He had only two very rough-looking stubs. I was immediately shocked to the center of my being. I quickly put the money into his pocket and urged him, "Run home now before you freeze to death." He was overjoyed to receive $100 rather than 20 cents. He was astounded for a few seconds, then he bowed to me 3 times, and with a big smile, he ran away. I could not sleep all night. In the middle of the night, I woke my father and asked whether he had seen a boy with no hands. Dad let out a big sigh and told me the story. "Oh, the poor boy. His name is Da Shan, meaning big mountain. He has been here for 6 months now. His father died in a devastated flood up north. His aged grandparents, his mother, and his 4 little sisters and brothers all rely on him. He is only 9 years old." Dad shook his head while fighting back the tears. He paused for a while and continued. 6 months ago, our town received more than 10,000 beggars as a result of this flood. All the beggars struggle to get food and shelter because there are just too many of them for a little town. When Da San's family first arrived in town, he could not get any food or money. He was too thin, too small, and too weak to fight for food against other stronger beggars. One of his baby brothers died in the middle of a night. To help his family survive, he asked his mother to chop off his little hands so he could become handicapped. Handicapped beggars always get more attention and mercy from people when begging. Dad had to stop. He was choking with tears going down his throat. He struggled to compose himself. I held my breath, hoping that I would not have to hear the unimaginable. After an eerie period of silence, Dad continued, "His poor mother, what a thing to do. She had to make a choice from hell, chop off his hands or sit and do nothing and watch helplessly as the rest of her children die one by one." I could not stop shivering for the rest of the night. I imagined being in Da San's position. What would I have done? Would I be as brave as he was? Would I offer my hands to be chopped off to save my family? Then I imagined being in Da San's mother's position. Would I be so cruel to chop off my son's hands so as to save the rest of my family? What the hell would I do? I walk in a pool of cold sweat caused by the 2 alternating nightmares. It was me whose hands had been chopped off by my own mother, and then it was me who had to chop off my son's hands to save the rest of the family. I felt sick to my stomach and felt weak all over. Then I started to vomit until I had nothing left to throw up. "Where can I find Dasan?" I asked Dad after I calmed myself. "He would be somewhere in the market." Dad gave me a basket of hot meat buns and a bottle of soya milk. "This will help a little bit," he said, indicating to give them to Dasan when I found him. I ran to the market at dawn, desperate to find Dasan. I found him on the back of a vegetable shop, picking up rotten veggies. I gave him the buns, the soya milk, and an envelope containing $1,000. I then told him to run home and give it to his mother. He recognized me from the encounter we had the night before. He immediately bowed to me many times and said, "Buddha sent you, big sister. Buddha sent you to help us. Thank you, sister. Thank you, sister. Thank you." I looked at him clearly this time in the bright daylight. He was very handsome. Although he was very thin, he had amazing sparkling big eyes and a determined-looking face that was full of grace, peace, and strength. His smile was like the bright winter sun, ready to warm up the coldest person. I knelt down to the floor so I was at his level. I held onto his handless stubs and put them close to my heart. I kissed them and embraced him. I looked him in the eyes and I asked, "Would you like to go to school?" He looked at me as if I had asked him a very strange question. Then he laughed from ear to ear and cheerfully replied, "I can't go to school, big sister. I need to raise my family. I am the man of the house." He said it with so much pride, so much love, and so much wisdom. I was astonished, and I burst into tears. I sobbed uncontrollably. "I am so sorry that you had to lose your hands, little Dasan." I tried very hard to speak. He wiped off my tears with his sleeves and comforted me. "Don't feel sorry for me, big sister. I'm not sorry at all. I'm actually very happy. I'm so grateful that I can give up my hands in exchange for my family's lives. Now at least we are all together and we will all live. We might not have any money, but at least we have each other, and that's really something. You should be happy for us." His smile could have melted the heart made of stone. I had to use all my strength to stop the uncontrollable sobbing. I poised myself, calmed myself, took a deep breath, and then suddenly I felt I was illuminated by the light of love from little Dasan. Suddenly, for the first time in my life, I saw love's real face. I saw a living Buddha, a living Christ. This little fragile-looking boy named Big Mountain was indeed bigger than life itself. I felt so small, so humble in his presence. He appeared to be a street beggar. I appeared to be the one who spared him food and money. But in actual fact, I was the beggar. He was the one who spared me my awakening, my realization that no amount of money could ever buy. He bowed to me many times during our encounter, calling me Sister Buddha. But who should bow to whom? Who was the Buddha here? Certainly not me. I went to see Dasan every morning in the market during the remaining 6 weeks of my study. Dad made buns and soy milks for me to take to his family every morning before I went to the hospital. I bowed to him each time I saw him. He desperately tried to stop me from doing it. I don't understand why you bow to me, Sister Buddha. You are the one who is helping me, he said to me one day. No, Dasan, you are the one who is helping me. You have no idea how much you have helped me. I am a better person because of you. I will never forget you. I will carry you in my heart wherever I go. I will go back to where I live soon, but I will carry your spirit with me to the end of the earth. For as long as I live, I will bow down to you. You are my master. You are my guide. You are my light. You are the one who teaches me the meaning of love, and I will surely live by your teaching. He did not understand what I was going on about, but I made sure he understood that he was instrumental for the development of my inner growth. My meeting with him was a blessing to me, and that I would be indebted to him for the rest of my life. From that moment, my life perspective was never the same again. From that moment, I understood the meaning of true love and unconditional sacrifice. I had seen love's real face. I had known love's real name, and that experience, that teaching from little Dasan set in motion my inner search for true unconditional love and compassion to all. To me, this little handless beggar was the manifestation of a living master. I hope Dasan's story touches you at the deepest core of your heart as it has touched me. I also hope you realize that the superhuman quality that resides in Dasan also resides in you. I'm not suggesting you have your hands chopped off. You may never have to encounter such a devastating choice in this lifetime. But the ability to find true freedom within one's heart, the ability to love so deeply in the darkest hours of your life also resides in you. When you complain, when you blame, when you feel that life treats you badly, think of Dasan. Would you like to swap places with him? What pathetic excuses would we have to complain about anything? If a homeless beggar had the ability to feel grateful even in the midst of such unimaginable hardship, what excuses would be good enough for us not to feel grateful for what we have? Within each and every one of us, we have the incredible power to transform the most traumatic experience into the greatest wisdom. But we have to consciously choose this option. We are all seeds of the lotus flower, which hold the infinite potential to grow through the mud of the world and blossom into the most beautiful, the purest flower of all. It is very hard to see the light of life when you are deeply entrenched in the thick mud. What is going to help you break through the mud is your unshakable faith and the inner knowing of your higher purpose. You know your purpose is not to live in the mud. It cannot be. With such an intelligent, intricate, and miraculous biological system, with the awesome power to translate every single thought imaginable into reality, with the possibility to evolve and transform,